I used to think the worst thing that could happen on a quiet suburban street was a busted sprinkler head or a kid leaving a bike in the road. I really believed that. I believed if you kept your lawn decent, waved at your neighbors, and paid your fees on time, life stayed simple. Then one Friday, I opened my front door and found a plain white envelope on the welcome mat. No return address, no stamp, nothing. Just my name written in neat, confident handwriting like whoever dropped it there knew exactly where I lived, exactly what time I'd see it, exactly how it would land. Inside was a single sheet of paper from the Willow Creek Community Council, 3 sentences long, and it hit me like a brick. Violation. Unauthorized network access. Fine. $250 per day until resolved. Effective immediately. I read it again. Unauthorized network access. In my house. On my Wi-Fi? I'm not a tech guy. I'm a claims adjuster. My network security is basically a sticky note with a password my wife, Dana, made me change 3 times because I kept using the dog's name. I walked into the kitchen holding the letter like it was radioactive and said, "Dana, are you messing with me?" She took one look and her face went tight. "That's not funny," she said. Our daughter, Riley, drifted in a minute later, 16 years old, hoodie up, earbuds half in, half out. That teenage posture that says she hears everything even when she pretends she doesn't. She read the letter, and the second her eyes hit the words, network access, her expression shifted. Not panic, not confusion, recognition. "Dad," she said, calm like she was commenting on the weather, "they're talking about Wi-Fi." "No kidding," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "But how would the community council even know what's happening on our router?" Riley didn't answer with words. She walked to the living room shelf where the router sat, picked it up, turned it over, and stared at the ports and cables like they were a crime scene. Then she looked at me and said, "Because they're in it." That was the first moment I felt something colder than anger. That feeling when you realize you're not dealing with a nosy neighbor anymore. You're dealing with someone who's already been inside your house without stepping through the front door. Let me tell you about Willow Creek. It's outside Raleigh, the kind of neighborhood that looks like it was built from one blueprint and a dream. Same mailboxes, same porch lights, lawns trimmed like a golf course. People are polite here. Not warm, not unfriendly, just polished. And sitting right in the middle of all that polish is a woman named Marlene Price. Marlene runs the community council like she's mayor of a small country. Mid-40s, perfect hair, beige blazer that costs more than my first car, always carrying a tablet, and a little smile like she's doing you a favor by allowing you to exist. Folks call her Marlene the Standard, like she's the standard everyone should meet. I call her something else, but I'm trying to keep this story monetized. The same day we got that letter, I stepped outside to breathe. I didn't even make it to the driveway before I heard her voice, sharp and cheerful at the same time, like a knife wrapped in ribbon. "Evan." "Hi." I turned, and there she was at the edge of my lawn, tablet in hand, scanning my yard like she was judging a pie at the state fair. "Quick reminder," she said, tapping her screen. "Your grass looks a little low. Council guidelines recommend 2.5 to 3 inches. I stared at her. "Marlene, are you serious?" She gave that tight smile. "Property values are serious." I held up the letter. "Is this serious too? Because I have no idea what this even means." Her eyes flicked to the paper and back to me, and for just a split second her smile twitched. Then she smoothed it out. "We've had reports of unusual internet activity," she said. "The council is taking steps to protect the community." Protect. She said that word like it covered everything. Like you could do anything to someone as long as you claimed it was for protection. That night, our usual Friday routine got wrecked. We tried to watch a movie, and the streaming kept freezing every 30 seconds. Buffering. Stuttering. Pixelated faces. Dana groaned. "This is unbearable." I unplugged the router, plugged it back in, did the whole ritual like I was appeasing a temperamental appliance. Same thing. Riley didn't even look surprised. "It's been like this all week," she said. "It's not the provider." "Then what is it?" Dana asked. Riley stood up. "Someone's siphoning our bandwidth," she said. Dana blinked. "Siphoning? Like stealing?" Riley nodded and walked to her room, which looks like a cross between a teenager's cave and NASA mission control. 2 monitors, wires everywhere, little tools I don't understand. 15 minutes later she came back out, laptop open, eyes sharp. "Okay," she said. "I traced it." "Traced what?" I asked. She turned the laptop toward us. There was a map of connections, lines branching like spiderwebs. Our traffic is being routed through a local relay, she said. Like a hub. Where's the hub? Dana asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. Riley pointed. The clubhouse. I actually laughed, because it sounded insane. Why would the clubhouse need our Wi-Fi? Riley's face didn't change. They don't need it, she said. They're using it. And it's not just us. It's multiple houses. Dana's hand went to her mouth. I felt heat crawl up my neck. Can you stop it? I asked, and Dana whipped her head toward me like I'd suggested we rob a bank. Evan, she warned. Riley shrugged like it was basic math. Yeah, she said. I can lock them out. Dana said, no, absolutely not. That's illegal. Riley looked at her, dead serious. Mom, what they're doing is illegal. Then she looked at me. Do you want your internet back? That's the thing about being a dad. You want to be responsible. You want to be the adult. But you also want someone to stop messing with your family. I hesitated for half a second, then said, do it. But do it clean. Riley nodded once and disappeared into her room. The clicking of her keyboard sounded like rain on a window. 5 minutes later, she came back out with a little grin. Done, she said. New firewall rules, new password, 32 characters, random string. They're out. For the first time all week, the movie loaded instantly. No buffering. No lag. Riley leaned back like she'd solved a puzzle. Dana stared at me like I'd lost my mind. And deep down, I knew we'd just poked something we didn't understand. The next morning proved it. I walked outside and found a neon orange sticker slapped on my car window, final towing notice. I read it 3 times, because my brain refused to accept it. It claimed my car had been parked on the street for more than 12 hours. Except my car was in my driveway. I peeled the sticker off and stormed inside. Dana took one look and said, she's retaliating. Monday, we got a notice for putting trash bins out before approved hours. Tuesday, we got a warning about an unapproved decorative item, a little metal garden heron Dana bought at a craft store. Wednesday, there was a complaint about audible disturbance because our dog barked at a mail truck. By Thursday, our kitchen counter looked like a ransom note made of citations. And then Friday, another envelope appeared on the mat. This one looked more official, thicker paper, bold title, the council logo stamped like a seal. Hostile network creation, it read. Fine, $250 per day until disabled. I actually said out loud, hostile network? What am I supposed to do? Glare at the router. Riley snatched it and scanned it. This is fake language, she said. They're making it up. Dana rubbed her temples. We can't afford this, she whispered. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing Marlene's voice saying, protect the community and property values, and realizing those words were just costumes. The real message underneath was simple. Do what we say, or we will make your life miserable. And then I started thinking about the bigger question. Why? Why steal bandwidth from half the neighborhood? Why retaliate so hard when Riley blocked them? This wasn't about us being difficult. This was about us interrupting something. In the morning, I slid the stack of notices toward Riley and said, I need you to look deeper. Dana snapped. Evan, no. I held up a hand. Not to attack, I said. To understand. Quiet. Careful. If there's nothing, fine. But if there's something, we need to know what we're dealing with. Riley stared at me, then nodded slowly. You want me to ghost in, she said. Slip through the window instead of kicking down the door. She paused. I can do it. But I want it on record that this is a terrible idea. Dana muttered. Thank you. Riley demanded snacks. Lots of them. For 2 days, she barely left her room. We heard the keyboard late at night, the little frustrated sighs, the muttered, no way, under her breath. Then Sunday evening, she walked into the living room looking pale, like she'd seen something she couldn't unsee. She set her laptop down and pulled up a map. Willow Creek glowed on the screen, every house a dot, lines connecting them like a nervous system. Dad, she said quietly, it's a mesh. A what? I asked. A mesh network, she said. They're using neighborhood routers as nodes. They bounce traffic through houses, so the origin is hard to trace. Dana's voice went thin. Trace what? Riley clicked into logs. Large encrypted transfers, she said. Huge. Like, not normal. And everything is tagged with one word. She typed it, and it appeared again and again like a stamp. Cinder. I stared at it. Cinder, I repeated. What does that mean? Riley shook her head. I don't know. she whispered. But it's big. Dana grabbed her phone. We're calling the police. Riley snapped her laptop shut. No, she said, sharper than I'd ever heard her. If we go local, they'll flip it. They'll say I hacked. They'll say we're paranoid. And Marlene is the community council golden girl. You know who they'll believe. I hated that she was right. I hated even more that my 16-year-old was the one saying it out loud. That's when Riley said the sentence that pushed us over the edge. If you want this to stick, she said, we need physical proof. Not screenshots. Not logs. Something they can hold in a bag. Like what? I asked, even though I already knew. They're moving storage drives during the budget meeting, she said. I saw it in a calendar entry. Cinder handoff, 6 p.m. Dana sat down hard like her legs quit. Absolutely not, she said. We are not turning into criminals. I looked at my wife, then at my daughter, and I felt something shift in me. That old feeling of being the guy everyone talks over, the guy who follows rules and still gets stepped on. We're already being treated like criminals, I said quietly. We just haven't done anything wrong yet. We did one thing right in the middle of all our wrong decisions. We stopped trying to handle it alone. I called an old friend from college who worked in IT compliance. He didn't laugh. He said, if you have evidence of a hidden mesh like that, you don't call town police. You call federal cyber. He gave me a number. I called. Agent Kira Maddox picked up. Her voice was calm, skeptical, tired, like she'd heard 1,000 people claim a conspiracy and 999 were wrong. I told her everything in one breath. The fines, the mesh, the tag, Cinder, the calendar entry. She went silent for a long beat. Then she said, bring what you have to a coffee shop in Briarwood tomorrow. Come alone. The next day, she and 2 other agents watched Riley's evidence with zero expression. No gasps. No dramatic music. Just focus. Maddox closed the laptop and said, if this is legitimate, we need to catch the handoff. I swallowed. What do you need from me? She leaned in. We need noise, she said. A distraction. Someone to pull attention while we move. I frowned. You want me to cause a scene? You're already on their radar, she said. Use that. The budget meeting was at the elementary school cafeteria, fluorescent lights and lukewarm coffee, and parents pretending they cared about line items. Marlene stood at the front in her beige blazer, smiling like a politician. Beside her sat the council treasurer, a mild, quiet guy named Grant Holloway, the kind of man everyone assumes is harmless. Under his chair was a silver case. My stomach dropped. Agent Maddox was in the back, dressed like a mom who'd rather be anywhere else. She gave me a tiny nod. The meeting droned on. Landscaping. Security upgrades. Community harmony. Then Marlene introduced Grant for the financial report, and a woman in a sharp suit walked up and handed him that silver case like it was nothing. Like she was passing him a casserole dish. That was the moment. My heart hammered so hard my ears rang. Every instinct screamed, sit down. Stay invisible. But I stood anyway. Excuse me, I said, loud enough that heads turned. Marlene's smile tightened. Evan, we'll take questions at the end. No, I said, stepping forward. My voice shook, but it carried. I think we're past polite questions. Why are you stealing internet from people's homes? Why are you issuing fake fines? And what exactly is Cinder? The word hit the room like thunder. Marlene's face flickered, just for a blink. Grant froze. And then chaos. Federal agents, do not move. Maddox's voice cut through the cafeteria as badges came out and chairs scraped and parents screamed. Grant lunged for the silver case and bolted for the side door. For 1 second I thought he'd make it, until a dad near the exit stepped into his path, holding a foam baseball bat from Spirit Week. The guy swung more out of panic than courage. The bat clipped the case. It flew, hit the floor, popped open. Inside were stacked drives like silver bricks. Agents tackled Grant. Marlene shrieked, flailing, as cuffs snapped around her wrists. It was over in under a minute, but it felt like a lifetime. I stood there breathing like I'd been underwater, watching the queen of Willow Creek dragged out like everyone else. Outside, sirens painted the parking lot in red and blue. Dana and Riley rushed in from the back, Dana trembling, Riley's eyes bright with that fierce, exhausted relief. Agent Maddox passed me and said quietly, "You did your part." I should have felt like a hero. I didn't. I felt like a guy who finally stopped being quiet and found out just how loud the world gets when you push back. The next week, the story blew up. news vans, headlines about suburban mesh network and community council arrests. Neighbors came by with questions and casseroles and sideways looks. Some thanked us. Some avoided us like trouble was contagious. Riley got suspended for unauthorized access, which made my blood boil, but she just shrugged and said, "Guess I'll have extra study time." The council refunded the fines. They replaced the locks. They sent out a cheery newsletter about moving forward. And our Wi-Fi was perfect again. For now. But here's the part that keeps me up at night, and why I'm ending this the way I'm ending it. 2 weeks after the arrests, I found another plain envelope in our mailbox. No logo. No return address. One sentence printed on a sheet of paper. Some fires don't go out. They spread. I stood on my porch staring at those words while kids rode bikes and sprinklers clicked and neighbors waved like nothing happened. And I couldn't tell if it was a prank or a warning. So I want to know what you think. Did we do the right thing? Pushing back, letting a 16-year-old get involved, risking our own necks to expose what was happening? Or did we cross a line and become the kind of people we were fighting, just wearing a different label? And if you've ever lived under an HOA or a council like this, you already know what I'm really asking. When power gets abused in plain daylight, do you keep your head down and hope it passes? Or do you stand up and risk becoming the problem in someone else's story? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me if you think we were right or reckless. And if you've witnessed something like this, a neighbor weaponizing rules, a community turning on one family, authority hiding behind standards, share it. I read every comment. And if you want more stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because out here, in these perfect little neighborhoods, the scariest stuff isn't always the obvious danger. Sometimes it's the smile, the clipboard, and the fine print.